We've got more action from the 2015 New York State Championships as we bring you the expert doubles final. On the left side of your screen, having won the winner's bracket, that's Rob Kadle in the forward position, his partner John Sajdak. And on the right side at forward, Mike Campagna and Steve Grant playing the goalie position on the right. As we said, Kadle and Sajdak won the winner's bracket of the expert doubles event here, and Kadle now with the first scoring opportunity in game number one as he tries to come down the middle there against Grant, who blocks it up into the air and off the table. Of course, Steve Grant, the goalie this weekend of Tony Sprademan, and they won the open doubles title here in Albany. Kadle and Campagna also partners. They do compete together. In fact, I believe they played together in the open event here this weekend. And here they are competing for the expert doubles title, both of them playing the forward position. Grant slowing it down, sends that one up the table where it's picked up here by the 5 of Rob Kadle. Best 2 out of 3. Everything here this weekend is win by 2 in the final game. And of course, Campagna and Grant must win 2. Best 2 out of 3 sets to come back and claim the expert doubles title here in New York. That one up into the air and off the table will be put back into play by John Sajdak. Sajdak putting it back into play. Still no score here in the first game. Sajdak slowing the tempo down. Slices that one up the table. Kadle had a chance to grab it, but it's Steve Grant who ends up with it. Almost 2 minutes into the match and still no score here in game number one. Grant again choosing to slow it down and just kind of send it up the middle. This is a tactic he likes to use with Tony Sprademan. Mike Campagna getting a few extra possessions won't hurt, I think. Mike looking to pass, and it's stolen away by Rob Kadle. Kadle will once again set up the pull shot, and he has a good one. Straight, middle, or long. He's looking at that split and instead strokes home the long pull shot. It's 1-0. Grant thought he was out there, but Kadle beat him to the punch. So Kadle and Sajdak draw first blood here in game number one. Campagna tic-tacking and passing it nicely down along that wall. Mike Campagna. Sitting on his pull shot. He, too, has an excellent pull shot and shows it to you right there as he strokes home that one to tie it up at 1. 1-1 here in game number one. Kadle will have another possession here. Shooting against Steve Grant. Rob Kadle. Sits, waits, and again, stroking home the long pull shot. It's 2-1. Two excellent pull shooters on display here in this expert doubles final. Campagna will look to even it up. Mike tried to go to the long hole, blocked by Sajdak. Rebound caroms to Kadle. Rob's hit his last 2. See if he likes to go inside or just keep working that long hole, and especially if he takes his time like he has on the previous 2 possessions. He does take his time. Tried to come down the middle here. Grant raced him out there to make the block. And the rebound comes to Campagna, who fires home the left hook. It's 2-2. 2-2 here in game number one. Rob Kadle will look to take the lead. A little bit of a fake there. And again, trying to go to the long hole, and Grant has blocked the last 2 efforts. Shot down the middle by Steve. Rebound grab by John Sajdak. Sajdak sends that slicing effort up, but then knocked back into the goal by Kadle, who was simply trying to save it to keep it off of Campagna's 3-rod. Instead, it went back towards his own goal. Sajdak couldn't keep it out, and now Kadle will get another possession here, and he finds himself behind by a goal. See if he takes a look at the straight hole. No, I believe he might have cut that one back down the middle. Could have gone to the long hole. Went with a little bit of a quicker release after 2 or 3 seconds. And he has tied it up at 3. Back along that wall goes Campagna. Mike will shoot for the lead. Always a lot of fun to watch good pool shooting. Tried to flick that long, blocked by Sajdak, comes back to Campagna. Been a very even match so far, tied up at 3, and Sajdak there to take it away on this occasion as well. Sajdak sends that one up the table on goal. Grant snags the rebound, quickly sends it the other way, and it's caught on the 3-rod by Campagna. Mike tried to, I believe, come down the middle. That one blocked up into the air and off the table. Sajdak will put it back into play. John Sajdak. And a very well-played opening game of this expert doubles final. Sajdak taking some time. And then stubs that one right back into his own goal. So that is 2 own goals in this first game for the team of Kadle and Sajdak. Kadle scored 1 with his 5 when he squeezed it back in. And Sajdak now angling 1 off his own 2-rod. And it's 4-3 in favor of Campagna, and Grant passed along the near wall nicely here by Kadle. Rob Kadle. Sitting, really taking his time, then I believe tried to stroke the long. Blocked by Grant. That one fired on goal with a 5 by Kadle. Grant with the rebound. Steve opened up, really taking his time back here, and then has tried a couple of quick things since then. That's a pass attempt along that far wall. Kadle knocks it down, and then Campagna takes it away. Mike trying to advance it to his 3-rod. And finds the hole along the near wall. Mike Campagna can win this opening game. Campagna from pull shot position tried to come inside. I'm not sure that's exactly what he wanted to do. Didn't really get much behind it. Taken away by Sajdak. Remains 4-3 in favor of Campagna and Grant. And Sajdak down the middle into the goal has tied it up at 4. So making up perhaps for the inadvertent knock into his own goal, John Sajdak has come with a shot from goal to tie it. Mike Campagna passing it along the wall. Another chance here for Mike, and look for him to put something a little more aggressive on goal with this possession as he looks to win game number 1. Campagna tried to come down the middle, blocked and taken away by Sajdak. 4-4 here in game number 1, and Sajdak calls timeout. John Sajdak will put it back into play in the goal area. First game. Sajdak scored the last time, puts one on goal here, and then Campagna knocks it back to the 3-rod of Kadle. Rob Kadle can win game number 1 as he sets up the pull shot. Fakes. Tried to stroke that one off the rim and then off the outside wall and right back into their own goal. So 3 own goals in the opening game for Kadle and Sajdak. And Campagna and Grant, living a bit fortunately, have earned a first game win. Rob Kadle will look to open up the scoring here in game number 2. Again, taking his time and firing that one home. And that's really the key to a good pull shot, is the ability to explode to the hole off a dead stop after 3, 4, 5, 10, 12 seconds. Kadle has shown he can certainly do that. Campagna looking to even it with a quick shot here, blocked by Sajdak, who gets out there. Mike again, and again Sajdak there. So John Sajdak really doing a good job back there against the 3-rod of Campagna. And is pitched in with a goal as well. Fired that one just wide. Sent the other way by Grant. Shot off the corner by Sajdak, who has worked that push shot series pretty well throughout the match. Kadle and Sajdak leading 1-0 here in the second game of what could be the opening set of the expert doubles final here at the 2015 New York State Championships. Sajdak with a pull shot this time. So he goes back to the push. Now he's going to try a pass attempt. Goes wide of the man, and it's picked up by Grant. Still 1-0 here in the second game. Steve Grant looking to add an expert doubles championship here this weekend to the Open Championship that he and partner Tony Sprademan have already won. Kadle tried to take that one across and pass it along that far wall. Campagna looked as though maybe he has seen that one before. These guys are partners and live in the same part of the country down in Florida. And Campagna's going to get an opportunity here to tie it at 1. John Sajdak has blocked the last several. Campagna will reset the ball here and stroke it down the middle. It's 1-1. That pull shooter's best friend, that squared off split against the standard defense on whatever table you use it on. We like to talk about it on the Bontini table, what a huge split hole there is. But if you're able to work the little cut middles, have maybe 2 or 3 different places you go with a squared off pull shot, splitting a standard defense, you're going to have a great deal of success. You establish the straight, perhaps you establish the long as well, of course, and then work that middle against the standard defense. If you wait on it, it's going to be there at some point during the course of every possession, and several points usually. Still 1-1 here in the second, and going crisply through the lane here is Campagna. Mike Campagna sets it up and tried to come inside, and Sajdak has blocked something like 5 of the last 6 against Campagna. Sajdak angles that one up the table. Rebound grab by Grant. 1-1, second game. John Sajdak gets a possession here. Angling effort by Sajdak. Kadle with a rebound on his 5 and passing it nicely along the wall. Then it squirts away from him back to the 5 of Campagna. It has certainly not been an intentional thing. I would say that it's predominantly lucky circumstances that created the 3 own goals in that first game. But another way to look at it is that Kadle and Sajdak have really been their own worst enemy, of course, with 3, although again, a lot of fortune with each of those. And we mean bad fortune for them. It was good fortune for these guys, though, Campagna and Grant. And here's Mike Campagna again stroking the pull shot home to make it 2-1. Campagna and Grant hoping to win this game and send this match to a second set. Rob Kadle says, hold on a minute. I'd like to win this thing in 1 set if I can. As he sets up the pull shot. Rimmed that one again off the post. Sajdak tried to send a pass along that near wall. Campagna had it, lost it, and that means Kadle will put it back into play on his 5. 1-0 lead in games for Campagna and Grant. 2-1 lead for Mike and Steve as well. As Kadle has another chance here. Tried to really wind up and hit the long there. That one went wide and carried right back to his 3-rod. A high back straight might be in order here for Kadle. Instead, he finds the split hole. And that split is what we talked about just a few minutes ago. It's the pull shooter's best friend. But it's also important to make sure you establish that straight. Grant definitely ready to jump, and that nice little high back straight would probably work the first time and then continue to keep him on that straight hole from then on. Or at least paying attention to it. 2-2 here in the second, and that's 2 in a row now from Campagna, who is also working the middle part of the goal against a standard defense. 3-2 lead for Campagna and Grant, and Mike steals it away here from the 5-row of Rob Kadle. Campagna will set up his pull shot. He's made his last 2. Tried to go with that little flick straight. Like to see him sell that a little more. Really make the defender think he's going long or split. He goes long here and then can't grab the rebound after the block by Sajdak, who for the most part has blocked Mike's 3-rod very well. Kadle's going to get an opportunity. Again, Grant showing him the potential split. Kadle, if you sit on it, it's going to be there if you explode to it. Instead, he goes to the long hole. As Grant perhaps overplaying that split a little bit, baiting it and then switching, allowed the long pull shot to get home, and it's now 3-3. Kadle now moving to goalie on the left side. Sajdak to forward, although John Sajdak really has done a good job, I think, against Campagna's 3-rod. Thing that killed Sajdak were the 3 own goals in that opening game. However, Campagna had hit his last few and was on a bit of a run, so I see the logic behind this as well. Kadle fortunate to get that one through. It's taken away here by Campagna on his 5. That's Sajdak defending. And a nice pass here by Campagna. It's the expert doubles final here at the 2015 New York State Championships in Albany. Campagna will shoot against his good friend Kadle for the lead, and you see Rob with a switch, bringing the far man on the 2-rod out to block the long pull shot. Rebound Karams to the 3-rod of Sajdak, who looks like he wants to shoot it. Sajdak strokes that one wide, then off the man and trickles in behind Steve Grant's goalie man. And it's 4-3, so a bit of luck there for Sajdak and Kadle. However, if I'm John Sajdak and Rob Kadle, I'm bringing Kadle back into that forward position on that last possession. Certainly the possessor of the better pull shot, the better 3-rod, and he had been starting to dissect Steve Grant as well. So living a little fortunately themselves on that last possession, Sajdak and Kadle have surged ahead, but Grant with a big deep pull kick makes it 4-4, and it is set point for Campagna and Grant here in game number 2. And back to Kadle. Back to forward comes Rob Kadle. Rob, tic-tac wall. 4-4 here in the second game. Again, it is set point for Campagna and Grant. Steve Grant will slow it down and set up his pull shot. Taking a lot of time here, then hands it over to Kadle. Kadle now can send this match to a third and final game as he sets up the pull shot. He's made his last 2. He went split, he went long. And there's another long to close out game number 2. Big shot by Kadle. And we're even at a game apiece as we get game number 3 underway. Campagna passing it along that near wall. So Rob Kadle makes his last 3, I believe, in that second game. Campagna looking to make his first one here, and he does. Mike Campagna opens up the scoring here in game number 3. Rob Kadle gets the pass through. Rob will look to even it up. Rob sits, waits, takes his time, and then finds the short side of the goal. You see how Grant is really reacting out to that long hole. Again, that for Kadle, that 6-second, 8-second high back straight would be a killer. Of course, he has made his last 4 in a row, so we're not going to question his shot selection right now. Campagna will look for the lead. We're tied at 1, and Campagna again finding the middle, and Mike has settled in now on that split against the standard defense, and he has scored his first 2 shots here in game number 3. Kadle looking to answer. Hesitation wall pass drawing Campagna off that far wall, and Rob will set it up looking to tie it up. Perhaps this would be a situation where Kadle would score it and then switch. We'll see. Rob Again with a big long pull shot. It's 2-2, and indeed, Kadle moving back defensively. Sajdak to forward, but again, I think at this stage you must call timeout if you're John Sajdak and you get a possession here. 2-2 here in Game 3. It's been a very well-played expert doubles final. High quality, high percentage foosball. Campagna tried to brush it through the lane after bouncing it off that near wall. Blocked by Sajdak, who was using two hands defensively. And then Campagna doesn't execute the lane pass. It comes back to Kadle. Rob will put it back into play as it rolled to a stop. And I imagine he's going to work the pull shot series. There's a pass attempt. Sajdak wasn't prepared for it. Grant hauls in the rebound. See if Steve can be aggressive here. Taking his time, then sends that one up the table. Coming back the other way, it's Kadle. That one's going to spin back to Sajdak, and this time, will we use a timeout? No, we won't. Sajdak is going to shoot it. I believe Kadle has made perhaps his last 5 in a row. Why would you not call timeout and bring him back to forward? He's red hot. But instead, Sajdak goes for it. Grant blocks it up into the air and off the table, and Steve earns the right to put it back into play. You would think that Kadle would be urging his partner to call the timeout in those situations. And you would hope that Sajdak would do so if you're the team of Sajdak and Kadle. Picked up here, and again, calling the timeout here is in order as well. Tactical errors, perhaps, by the team of Kadle and Sajdak as we head down the stretch in this third game. And we'll see whether or not it costs them, but you certainly want Kadle up there with offensive possessions, either on the 3 or the 5. Perhaps Sajdak just not willing to give up the forward position. Or perhaps not thinking along those particular strategic lines. Stolen away here by Campagna. Mike tried to go inside here to that straight hole. Kadle, who appears to know when Campagna is going to shoot, made the switch just in time. He was covering long and straight defensively, bringing that far man on the 2 rod over to get the long. Shot down the middle, blocked back towards the goal by Campagna. We're still at 2-2 here in game number 3. And again, another shot blocked, and this rebound is grabbed by Mike Campagna. Mike slowing it down and finds the split hole. It's 3-2. And Kadle does return to forward here. And if you're Rob Kadle at this point, despite the fact that there are times when a defensive switch is in order, are you a little hesitant to do so, knowing that you may get stuck back there during a ball? We'll see as we move along here. But I think Kadle and Sajdak need to get on the same page. Trying to stroke the long here as Grant was showing him a reverse defense for the first time in the match. Another quick shot here by Kadle. So Kadle choosing to go with some quick efforts, and Grant's going to call timeout. No question, Rob Kadle, and he'd be the first to tell you, is at his best when he sits on it and explodes to a hole. 3-2 lead for Campagna and Grant. That one sliced up the table. It's going to roll back to Campagna. Mike Campagna, Steve Grant trying to win this opening set. They'd have to win this game, of course, and send it to a second set with a chance to win the expert doubles title. Rob Kadle, again, trying something quick and doesn't execute it. You're only down 3-2 here in this third game. You do have a set in hand, but you never really want to think along those lines. You never want to think that you can kind of fall back on that second set. That can get you into big trouble. We've seen it time and time again. In fact, if you looked at the statistics of the non-open events in particular, I'm guessing that a double dip occurs, perhaps at least half the time, or close to it. And oftentimes that is because the team coming from the loser side has momentum, of course, entering the final, but also you let them keep that momentum. You let them be in the match in that opening set. Let's see if Kadle will take his time here. I'm quite certain he would. Rob Kadle Sitting on the ball. Grant showing him a reverse defense. Do you think Kadle can get around that? He chooses to go straight here. It's 3-3. So Kadle finally utilizing the straight option against the reverse defense and finds the corner. Rob has really shot it well during the course of the match. Tic-tac lane. We're tied at 3 here in game 3. Campagna. And there's Sajdak to block it and take it away. Shot down the middle, almost grabbed on the 3 by Kadle. It does roll back to Campagna on the 5, however. Mike. Tic-tac. Wall. And Sajdak with the rebound. John has cleared it at a very high level when using the push shot. Clears it here using the pull shot, picked up by Grant. Steve looking at something quick, and then we'll set up the pull shot on the far side. Grant slices that one up the table again, just looking to clear it. And again, this is a ploy that he and his partner, his open partner, Tony Spreadman, used to get Tony some extra possessions as if he needs them. Campagna says, I could use a few extra ones, and certainly every player could. And so perhaps Grant is just trying to feed his partner here, using the same strategy. Tries a pull kick here, executes that towards the goal. Rebound grab by Sajdak. And John on goal. Grant hammers that one up into the air and off the table. John Sajdak will put it back into play in his goal area. Again, even at 3 here in game 3. Opening set of the expert doubles final. And, of course, Kadle and Sajdak hoping it's the only set, but that one back off that inside wall and in. Another own goal here, or perhaps Campagna got a piece of it. It's set point for Campagna and Grant. Kadle along the wall. See what Steve Grant chooses to do. Showing a reverse. Kadle looking at the straight, also looking long here. And finding long. It's 4-4. So into overtime we go. You must win by 2 in the final game in every event here this weekend in New York. And Kadle thinks about it and then does switch back and perhaps mention to Sajdak that he'd like him to call timeout when he gets possession. Could just be a matter of inexperience on the part of Sajdak in big matches. Or he's just very confident with his forward game. Now Campagna can give his team the lead as he sets up the bull shot, shooting against Rob Kadle. Campagna will call timeout. 4-4 here in game number 3 as Mike Campagna puts the ball back into play. Sets up the pull shot. And takes a look at the defense. Tried to come down the middle with that shot. Sajdak with a block. And John's going to call timeout. John Sajdak will put it back into play even at 4 here in game number 3. Remember, it is win by 2. Shot down the middle, taken away by Campagna. And Mike can give his team the lead as he sets up the pull shot. And strokes it down the middle. It's 5-4. Now Steve Grant thinks that, in fact, they all think the match is over. It is not. It's 5-4 in favor of Campagna and Grant. Now they realize that it is win by 2. 5-4. You see Grant has actually 6 score markers up there. It's really 5. 5-4. And now Kadle will look to tie it up at 5. To win by 2 with a ceiling of 8. Rob Kadle. Again, if he sits and waits, he might want to have a good, hard look at that long. Instead, he goes with a straight, blocked by Grant, who angles it up the table. Sajdak with a rebound. John fires that one on goal. Sent back the other way by Grant. It is set point for Campagna and Grant. They're up 5-4, but Sajdak whipping the pull shot down the middle, ties it at 5. And you see there they correct it now. It is 5-5. Campagna will put the ball into play on his 5. By Campagna. Try to go along the wall. Kadle with the block. Campagna again. Squeezes that one along the wall, and Mike can give his team the lead. Remember, Campagna and Grant need this game in order to keep their hopes of winning the expert doubles title alive here in New York this weekend. Hoping to send it to a second set. Campagna shot attempt rattles in, and again a set point for Campagna and Grant. It is 6-5. Kadle looking to get a possession and then perhaps send this thing into overtime, into double overtime. It would be just a race to 8 at that point. Pass attempt here, blocked back towards the goal. Picked up here by John Sajdak, who had a big pull shot from goal to score his team's previous point. Sajdak will again set up the pull shot. Sending it along the outside wall, does clear it, does get it into the left hand of Kadle, who quickly advances it through the lane. And Rob can tie it up at 6. Rob likes to set the ball well back of the rod, as you can see. If he waits, he probably heads along here. He's got to wait, though, as he sets it up. And strokes it home, and again, it is the long. Grant going to take a quicker look, but the hole was there, and if you wait on him, tough for Grant to race out there in a reverse defense. 6-6. Campagna. Tic-tac bounce pass. Nicely done. So it's a race to 8 now. And that pull shot blocked and taken away by Sajdak. John shot down the middle. Campagna with a block. And hold on. Okay, we will continue play. Maybe there was a reset in there somewhere. Kadle asking about it. Shot down the middle on goal by Sajdak. Rebound is grabbed by Grant. Steve again taking a lot of time and sends that pull shot up the middle. It's Sajdak's turn. Who's going to make the big play here? Campagna will have an opportunity here to give his team the lead. Mike. Strokes it again down the middle. As you saw, Sajdak switching into that standard defense. Campagna timed it perfectly. Found that squared off split, and again, it's set point for Campagna and Grant. And now Kadle looking to send it down to one final ball here in this opening set. Of course, again, hoping it's the only set as Kadle sets up the pull shot. And tried to stroke that long. Grant in a standard this time. Got out there to make the stop. Rebound caroms to Campagna. And Mike now can send it to a second set. Mike Campagna. And that one went wide of the goal. Comes back to Grant. Steve Grant. Pull kick towards the goal. Sajdak able to snag the rebound. It's 7-6 in favor of Campagna and Grant. It's the expert doubles final. Shot down the middle on goal by Sajdak. Rebound grabbed by Kadle. Rob will set up the pull shot and look to even this third game up at 7 goals apiece. Kadle will reset it and quickly call timeout. Rob Kadle will put the ball back into play with an opportunity to send this expert doubles final down to the final ball of at least the first set as he sets it up. And finds the straight hole. That was nicely done. We waited him out. The hole actually showed up several times, but it's always good to let the guy cycle through a few times. And then make sure of your timing and execute it. That's exactly what Kadle did. It's 7-7. It is Mike Campagna putting it back into play, and then quickly goes along that wall. He's got a chance to extend the match right here. Mike Campagna. Takes his time and strokes it down the middle. We're headed to a second set.